This episode of Brats in the Back Row contains discussions of gore, violence, physical and sexual, the AIDS epidemic, and the porn industry. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Let me just do this for show.
Ready?
Right. Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brats in the Back Row, where we are the titular brats talking in the back row of a movie theater. Today I forced the other brats to watch a... Okay, before we get started, everybody introduce yourselves.
I'm Allie.
I don't want to go too deep into it.
I'm Emily. Oh my god.
I'm gonna forget.
That was really violent.
Do it now! Do it now!
No!
I swear to God!
Okay, cool. Today I forced the other brats to watch the Jenna Ortega classic, X.
Period.
Can she have classics? She's
in the
movie was made like
movie.
2 years ago. Absolute classic.
My Latina queen.
She's only been in the industry like for a little bit. Like when you think of Jenna Ortega,
I
You
think
think
of
of
that
this movie.
one Disney Channel show called Stuck in the
True.
Middle or whatever the fuck she was in.
oh yeah,
There's like discourse on Twitter about Jenna Ortega's career because she talks about all of these like avant-garde films and how much she like loves watching all of these like really prestigious films. And then her filmography is fucking like the Unicorn movie with Paul Rudd or fucking like
Was that-
Wednesday on Netflix. Like she
I
has the
think
worst filmography in the world.
she also said that she really likes doing horror movies because it's like a release for her or
Yeah.
cathartic. She's like, yeah, I just like scream and run and cry. I don't think she's done that many horror movies though. How many has she done?
I can
Well,
tell,
she
girl.
did. She did
X
the Scream movies.
Oh, okay.
There was another one. I was Googling this like yesterday because I was like, what has she done?
What movie did
She's-
we watch though?
Booked and busy. Oh yeah, what movie did we watch, Sarah?
Oh, okay. So we watched a movie called The Muppets. No, I'm kidding. The Muppets. We watched a film.
Huh?
I think it's so funny that like our films are just like all over the place. And like we watched The Muppets and then I made you guys watch this like gory ass like film with people getting their like eyes like popped out
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So today we're going to be talking about the movie X, directed by Ty West.
I went.
Ty West.
Ty West.
What was the thing
Um,
you were talking about with this? Was it Saw?
Oh,
X.
I saw X. I saw X with my ex.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Yikes.
right. I remember actually.
Yeah. Why did I do that?
I just remember this. Like
Saw X.
saw X. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, so the film stars Mia Goth in her most popular and well-known role, my Gen Z queen, Jenna Ortega, Kid Cudi,
Yeah, which is insane.
crazy. I don't know his name, but I recognized him on my mom's show, Virgin River. He plays the bartender. Don't know his name, but
He's come a long
shout
way.
out him.
Was that the guy that looks like a
Um,
de-aged Kurt Russell?
Yes, the guy who plays the producer
Mark
of the.
Henderson. He's
Oh.
from New
Yes.
Zealand.
Oh.
Oh,
He's from New Zealand.
Kiwis
What
rise up.
then? Oh, nope.
He does look like an abandoned Kurt Russell child.
I thought you were gonna just say abandoned Kurt Russell, and I was like, what does that mean? Kurt Russell. That was my first note. Was this guy looks like Kurt Russell, but like
Who's this
D8,
Kurt
like
Russell?
kind of like a younger Kurt Russell if he was when he's in like Death Proof or something.
You know what's crazy is Kurt Russell was in the third movie of this trilogy, Maxine.
That's true.
Oh,
Bad movie.
Oh, that's. Oh, I didn't watch. I need to watch these.
Yeah.
I know,
think
after
they're
watching
all
this one,
on-
I'm intrigued by the
Yeah,
rest
they're
of
all
the
on
series.
Max.
They are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's what I
paid
watched.
$3 to watch this movie. Google Movies.
Google Movies.
Google Movies. Who's using
Okay.
Google Movies?
Internet Archive.
Is it on the Internet Archive? No, it's not.
I don't know. I watched
I
it
don't
on
think it is. I
Sarah
would have
just has
watched
it
it.
back ways into everything.
Yeah.
There's no other way I would have watched this film if I hadn't been with my boyfriend in San Francisco, because he has HBO Max.
Oh.
Look
Distant
up
relatives.
what part of Mexico she's from. Like her family.
I think it's on her dad's side. I did look it up once.
Mexico.
But then they're also
Oh
like
my God.
Spanish. I don't know. Jenna Ortega heritage.
Cool, huh?
Sinola.
Oh no.
Sinola.
She's a.
Oh yeah, Sinaloa. That's where all the
Sinaloa.
cartoons are.
Where's that at?
It's somewhere in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Stuck in the middle.
It's stuck in the middle. It all
Ooh.
comes
Always
in the middle.
comes back to
It's
it.
it's on the west coast of Mexico, according to
Back
this.
on the West Coast.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know my maps. But her mom is of Puerto Rican descent
Yes.
also. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know people were like flaming her for being like, "You're not Latina enough."
Well, it's because she doesn't speak Spanish, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. People are weird about that stuff, so. Also, they're usually like white people who say that, so I don't really care what they say.
Yeah.
And fair. Yeah.
I got into this argument with somebody one time because I was like, because they were talking about like, you know, like the logistics of like what like classifies as like Mexican like ethnicity, and I'm like, you know, that's a made up concept. There's like no scientific like, it's a very social concept. Like there's no way to classify.
It's true.
It was created to categorize us on like the census, and like they didn't ask our input for how we wanted to be categorized.
Yeah.
And they just like started making up words.
Yeah, it's a very recent invention.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were like Italians, Irish. That's
Yeah.
non-white, and
They
then
were like,
now it's considered white.
You're either white or you're wrong.
You're right
Yeah.
or you're wrong. Wait, I like that. You're either white or wrong.
You like that.
It's funny. It's a play on
Interesting.
words.
Interesting.
White or wrong. White
You're
or
either
wrong.
white or you're wrong. Oh, that's I'm really good, guys.
I like it. Okay, so this film came out in 2022, and I believe production happened during COVID. The COVID years, yeah, it was like
COVID. That's how you said that.
We have to add that to the soundboard now.
COVID.
COVID. I'm looking through my notes because I actually took notes on this one.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So
I think this is the first time Sarah was actually excited to do a movie for the podcast.
That's true.
Not in the mean way, but you
I
were
was
just
not
like, I
stressed.
want to watch this.
You know, I chose this film because I had just recently saw it, and I was like, let's just do it.
But I think you really like it though, don't you?
I mean, personally, I think this is an okay film, but I just
Alright.
think it's very interesting to talk about.
Fair enough. That's fine. That
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
good episodes.
Yeah. Let me look it up. Okay, so this movie was directed by
Tie.
Ty?
Hi.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Okay.
No,
Hi.
it just wasn't right either.
Sorry, I have choir brain. I see his name and I think like the note.
Well, let's see.
Yeah. I think of solfege. So this guy, it's the first movie.
This guy.
This dude.
Bro.
This dude. This is the first movie in a trilogy There's also Pearl and Maxine. Maxine with 3 X's, which is really trippy. Maxine.
Mexican.
Maxine. This dude, he directed. So basically, he kind of flew under the radar with his horror films. He directed The Roost. Have we ever heard of that movie?
Nope.
House of the Devil.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
I think I've heard
That
of
one's
it.
based on a book?
I think I've heard of it in conversation about
Maybe.
this movie.
He directed that one. It was not it like I said, these films kind of flew under the radar, like they weren't really known like horror films.
Mhm.
But he went on to so he directed Cabin Fever 2, which is a sequel to Cabin Fever, which was a movie directed by Eli Roth, which is the guy who directed The Green Inferno. I've heard of that one, and Hostel,
All right.
which I've
The
also heard of.
poster for Cabin Fever 2 is insane.
Yeah, I know.
It's so bad.
Is Cabin Fever the one with Jonathan Groff?
No.
No.
It's with Ryder Strong.
It's with Ryder Strong of
Eli
Boy Meets
Roth
World.
was in Inglorious Bastards, right?
Yeah, he's an actor.
I was like, that guy's familiar. Oh my god, I'm still logged into this one. Whoopsie. Sorry.
What's so funny
Oh.
about the thing that's funny, you saying Cabin Fever 2 is crazy because Ty West actually wanted to like he wanted to like kind of distance himself from the film and be like, hey, I didn't direct this film, this other guy did. But they were like, no, you directed the film, and so he's still credited.
Oh, Ty.
He's like, it's
Okay.
so bad. I do not want to
Poor
be
Ty.
associated. So yeah, that's all I have with like the introduction. But
Thank you.
how did we like this film, guys? I realize it's very gory, and I did not prepare you for that. Like if you're not used to seeing that kind of stuff. But how do we feel about it?
I watched this at 10 a.m. on a Sunday.
Bad. Evil.
Which is,
Oh, yeah.
you know, maybe not the best decision. Sorry. I'm also looking at the ratings for Cabin Fever 2 Spring Fever. This is crazy. It's all ones.
Yeah.
Sorry. I enjoy this. I think this is a good movie to watch with like friends. I don't think this is like this has that granny is crazy. And like that
Yeah.
granny was so horny. She just wanted someone. Bisexual grandma wanted anyone to hold. She
Yeah.
He's an icon.
Gam Gam is a peeping Tom when they're having like they're filming one of the sex scenes, I think, in the barn. Gam Gam's just in the window going like and it's like, Gam Gam, stop.
Calm down.
Mm-hmm.
This is also it may be what you want to talk about, but it's like it has an interesting, I don't know if good is the right word for it, but interesting conversation about like ageism and everything. I don't know if it's necessarily like hitting its mark, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's
I don't really have notes on it being about ageism, but the one note I do have is that if there's one moral I took from this story, it's that old people like to fuck too.
I like to fuck too.
Right on for
Mm-hmm.
Good job, guys. Yeah, no. I watched this movie X and I watched the sequel Pearl in theaters. Not be which is surprising to me too because I don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
But I watched them because I really like Mia Goth.
Interesting.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I liked I liked both of those movies when I was in theaters, and I didn't watch Maxine when it was in theaters. I watched it when it got on HBO Max, and hey, that's not a good movie at all. But when I was rewatching this, I was like, maybe this. I still think it's a good movie, but I don't think it has a lot of like rewatchability, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
You know, it felt, maybe it's because of my feelings towards the third movie. Maybe that kind of ruined this one for me. I don't know, but it's still a good movie. I just didn't like it as much.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Allie?
I'm not a fan of horror movies, but I did know like what I was walking into because I remember when this movie had first come out, like it got a lot of positive reception from what I remember. Like it was very popular. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it was very
Yeah,
popular.
that it was very popular. Jenna Ortega's in it. I think she's super cool. I think we're cousins. Jenna, text me.
Hey, girl.
Girl,
It's me.
hey girl,
Bias.
email us at bratsinthebacrow@gmail. Um,
Yes.
yes, DM us. But yeah, I watched it last night, like right before I went to bed, and I
It's a
was like,
crazy
"Oh,
time to watch it.
I'm gonna real brave of me." I was like, "I'm gonna have nightmares." I slept fine. I did have a
Nothing
dream that
affects
I
me.
had to nothing affect. Well, I was thinking this while I was watching the movie. I was like, I bet there's a lot of people who were like shocked by this, but I've watched two John Waters movies, so nothing phases me anymore.
I'm a
Nothing's gonna
blank
phase you
slate now.
anymore.
I
Yeah.
was like, this is not that bad.
And Allie, you are
You've
welcome.
experienced everything.
Thanks. Um, yeah, the the gore was gory. Not too much on the plot. Not like what things really get rolling after the second half or during. Yeah,
It's really that
And
last 30 where you're like, all right, things
things
are
get
starting to
moving.
pick up.
Yeah. And then there's that theme about like ageism. I said like how we treat like older women. Um, you know, but like you have a hard time focusing on it because people's eyes are getting pulled out with pitchforks.
the
yeah.
the the gore that got me was when he steps on the nail. Oh,
Oh,
I had to
absolutely
turn
not.
Oh
away. I had to
yeah.
turn away for that. I was like, oh,
I
that's
had to look
rough.
away.
It's
There's
bad.
Jenna Ortega's fingers get bashed.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
Oh,
oh.
and if she gets shot
She
so
just gets
brutally.
Fly. Everybody who gets shot in this movie goes flying. I'm like, I know
Grandma
that gun is not that.
is so. Listen, sorry, Gam Gam. It was so funny.
she
Uh,
recoiled.
yeah, when she's on like, oh, and then when her head gets like smashed under the
Oh yeah.
tire.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, Gam Gam, no.
Actually, I think that scene was an homage to Jeepers Creepers, which was another horror film that came out like
Yeah.
in
Yes,
2002.
Jeepers Creep. Yeah.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Justin Long.
Hmm.
There's a scene where she runs over Jeepers Creepers. I think that's his name. And smashes his head.
This came out in 2001. The tragedy.
2001. Jesus.
Before or after the tragedy?
Um, when did
The track
Jeepers
was.
Creepers come out?
What else
August
happened in
31st,
2001?
2001. Guys, it
Oh,
was only a couple
Sure.
days.
right before the tragedy.
The tragedy. It was in theaters during the tragedy.
There were people watching Jeepers Creepers
During
while
the
the tragedy.
tragedy.
Where were you during 9/11? Watching
Not
Jeepers
bored.
Creepers
I was watching.
Where were you?
IMAX.
I was watching Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
You can
I
tell.
wonder if they paused it and they were like, everybody, there's an emergency.
That's like at my old job, the woman that came up to me, this old woman, and she was like, "Oh, I haven't been in this theater for like 60 years." She's all, "I used to come here as a little girl. One day, we were watching a movie, and a police officer ran in and went, 'Everybody, World War II is over.'"
Yeah.
World War II?
Like,
World
Gam
War II.
Gam. I was like,
I
"What
have
is
a comment
happening?"
on that.
How
Old
old is
In
this
the
movie?
movie, in the movie, Pearl says that her husband fought in both wars, and I
I have something to say.
was like, which wars? Surely not the first and the second.
War.
That's what she meant, because the other options are the second and the Vietnam War. But I was like, I think he'd be too old by the time Vietnam
I
rolls
think
around.
Gamp was in 1 and 2.
Too, which is crazy.
Crazy.
I guess they're only like a few years apart.
I don't know, man.
No.
Maybe what
I'm
other
trying to
wars
think.
were happening? The Spanish-American War.
He was
Okay.
World War
He's
One and
alive during the 70s.
The
Was Spanish
Civil-
American not 1812? Civil War.
The
Yeah.
Civil War.
how old was he in World War Two?
I don't know.
Oh,
He would have
well-
to be in his like 40s by right.
Yeah,
if he fought in the first
second
one?
movie, the second
Yeah.
movie takes place in 1918, and
Yeah.
Pearl and husband are both young,
they're in their
So-
20s.
At least 18.
so he would have been of age to fight in both world wars.
That is God bless you, sir. I commend you. That is
Huge.
crazy.
Was he drafted
I
or
fought in
did he
World War
enlist?
One, and then I had to go fight in World War Two. I'd kill myself.
I thought I was
You want me to do
done.
that again?
I would be like, I'm not going. I was
Being
in the
the-
first one, which was worse.
Yeah, I
I'm
did this
trench
already.
foot now.
Yeah.
French foot, mustard gas, like, I'm not
I have
doing it
mustard
again.
gas.
Mustard gas, yeah. Girl, I don't want to do that again.
That's
I'm not doing that
crazy.
Yeah.
So about how old would he have been for World War II? Like in his
He has
late
to be in
20s?
his 40s. So
40s.
He has to be in his
Okay.
40s.
So who's signing on a 40-year-old man? He's not doing much.
I am assuming he's like a commander
Dude,
or
they took-
something, where he's
They
like,
took every able-bodied man. He was probably pretty still able-bodied by World War II.
I would have made myself not able-bodied.
I also would have made myself not
I'm giving
able-bodied.
myself flat feet. I'll figure it out.
My idea was just breaking my leg.
Oh, no. That's too easy. It'll heal. Flat feet, though, forever.
Forever. They're never gonna get you.
How do we achieve that?
How do you get
What's your
how
goal here?
How do you get
to
flat feet?
give yourself flat feet?
You like don't walk a lot. I think you can.
No, I
'Cause
don't
your
want
arch
to. I don't
isn't
want to
like-
fix it. I want to have it.
Google's like, wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, just be sedentary.
Yeah, I guess I just have to do nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
alright.
Although the beautiful thing about the four of us is that all of us are visually impaired, so they wouldn't let us in anyways.
Yes. All right.
I was talking to
Um,
my mom yesterday because she asked me like, "Are you?" Because she invited me to happy hour with her friends, and I was like, "Absolutely not." But she was like, "Wait, don't you film on Tuesdays now because their happy hours right now?" And I was like, "Yes, it is on Tuesdays." But I was thinking about not watching the movie. Sorry, guys. I did end up watching the movie.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, it's fine. She was like, okay, so you don't want to watch the movie. Do you guys actually watch the movie and talk about the movie? Because it doesn't seem like you do.
We do. All right.
And I said, we do sometimes.
We just get a little
I know.
sidetracked.
We just get sidetracked. It's okay.
It happens.
So that's a note from my mother. She would like us to talk about the movie.
Talk about the movie.
I'm
Got
sorry.
it.
But, I will.
Has she seen the Top Gun episode? Because
It's the only episode Allie has watched.
Yeah. The only episode that Allie likes.
It's the one I recommend to everyone. I
Sorry,
really
it's
like
the
that
Top Gun.
episode.
You kidding? Dude.
That one, and I think the Female Trouble one's gonna be really good too.
Okay.
I thought it was funny.
That one
Okay.
cooked. Okay. So I'm going to make your mom's wish come true, and I'm gonna talk about the movie.
Okay.
So yeah. When we talk about this film, I feel that it is appropriate for us to mention the porn industry. Specifically, in the 70s,
Mm.
where it kind of became mainstream
Yes.
because of, you know,
Mhm.
theaters, and also because of a film that became very popular in the 70s. I don't want to say the name of it. That
Say the name.
okay, I'll
What is
say
What?
it.
it?
I don't know
We'll
if
bleep it out.
we were you guys were open to discussing that in our holy environment.
Na- now we have values.
Now we have value
I've
Our
been
sacred environment. Um
on the night
so
before the conclave. We decide to have values.
Oh yeah.
oh, that's right, the conclave's
it's
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Conclave starts
Conclave.
tomorrow, guys. Pope
Yeah,
Crave is
Pope
there
Crave is on the
on
scene.
the scene.
Pope Crave's on the
I
scene.
saw that. I was like, that.
They
How did they
they
get
do
here?
not have a press pass,
But they're
but
just
they're
walking
on the
in.
scene.
The
It's
divas
really
are fighting tomorrow.
I know. I'm so excited.
Who will be the next Vatican idol?
Vatican Idol. Wait, you ate.
Who
That was
knows?
good. I liked that.
Who? I told Alfonso to watch Conclave because he was like, I was like, have you seen it? He's like, no, because he really liked Allie's Conclave joke that for the Onion.
Oh
Oh,
yes.
is
Oh,
it the
The
Met
Met
Gala
Gala
and
one. He was all, that's really
invitations?
funny. I was like,
Thank you. I'm glad you all read through them. Kaden saw them, Alfonso saw them, and everyone approved. Thank you so much, my community.
yeah,
we're all together.
Yes.
that you actually get it because they're very funny headlines.
They
I like them.
are.
Thanks. If I actually get it,
Um,
that'd be insane. I'm not a journalist.
but you are a comedy writer. Do you have to be a journalist?
Yeah.
I guess not. I also like I'm funny. I never thought I could do that profession. Anyways, I don't think I'm gonna get it. Let's keep talking.
Positive
Yeah. So
affirmation.
Positive. Think
which one's
Pearl does,
positively.
the
not Pearl.
what's the
Maxine
porn
does that.
movie?
Poor movie, yeah.
What's the porn movie that shall not be named? But shall be named?
Oh, sorry. It was called. It came out in 1972. It was called Deep Throat. Um,
Yes.
and it
Yeah.
is a film where a woman cannot experience, like, what word am I looking for? Because I'm home right now and I can't say the word too loud. She can't she
Orgasm?
can't orgasm. Yes,
Support.
thank you. And
You're welcome.
sorry, she and so the doctor inspects her and he's like, you know why you can't do it? Because your clitoris is in your throat.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
That
Okay.
begs a lot of other questions I have.
It does. It does.
How does a period work for her? Does she have a period?
He does.
So it's
Well,
coming
it's
out
I'm
of
not
her
the-
mouth.
No,
Well,
it's not
the
the
clitoris
clitoris. It's
doesn't
No,
have
that's not where the
anything to
clitoris.
do with the
Yeah,
uterus.
I know.
That's never mind. I forgot
I think
how periods work.
I
My
think
bad.
I think someone needs to go back to like sex ed.
Yeah.
We didn't have sex ed. Well, we did, but
Yeah. Did you guys have sex ed in school? Because I didn't.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Well, I kind of did. They gave us
Yeah.
a health course before our freshman year of high school, and then they went, "You're done."
Yeah.
Oh,
Like an
I
online
remember.
course.
Oh yeah. Oh no, wait. I remember in like 8th grade they did the Catholic thing where they let all of the boys play outside and then all of the girls had to watch a horrific video about periods and giving birth and then also sex and being like don't have sex.
I
That's
That was it.
They made the boys watch their own video as well. I passed out during the girl one because it was about
Oh.
yeah.
birth, and then I was just like, "Nope."
Yeah.
you would pass out. You get like it seems like
What
something
does
you
that
would
mean?
do.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
You don't seem like someone who would take seeing a birth well.
Mm.
I Yeah. Like if I saw it in person, I'd be like, "No."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, birth is horrific, so yeah,
Horrific.
I get it.
Horrific.
It's horrific. It's the worst thing in the entire world with respect to people who have given birth. But the fuck?
No, like don't stop.
It's horrible. Everything. I've never heard a single thing about pregnancy or giving birth that sounds good. That is good.
It's literally a horror story every single time. Like C-sections? Good lord. Like
Lord,
Yeah,
I was a
rough.
C-section.
ooh.
Oh, you were
Ew.
Google
Because
Twin.
well, first I was a C-section one because I was upside down. But then also there was no more like water in the womb, so I was dying.
You were
So
like
they had-
a fish out of water.
yeah,
flopping around.
yeah.
Help!
So they had to put me out.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think my mom, because my brother's birth was so like just traumatic, and she had to have a C-section. For me, she was like, just give me a C-section, and
Yeah.
that's how I came to be.
Yeah.
I was an angel
I was-
baby.
I was natural.
That's true. You were.
It was natural.
I was natural.
I
were
was
natural.
natural.
I was natural. Not you freaks of nature.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't get a ton of sex. Did I get sex ed in class in high school or anything like that? I don't remember. We did talk a lot about STDs, which I guess is sex ed.
That's sex ed, but like, did they tell you how you get STDs?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Well, yes.
Well, we talked about. Well, yes.
Maybe they were just
yeah.
like, these are diseases, and that was it.
Oh no, we talked in the what was it? The 8th grade. They brought in an older woman who had like AIDS, and she was like. I didn't realize how that sounded till I said it out loud.
That's insane. They were like, don't be like her. She can't help that. Like,
Just forced a woman
It's
with
not like-
AIDS.
does anybody have AIDS?
It's not like
anyone.
like,
What the fuck? That is
she
horrific.
came up of her own volition.
Oh,
She was like,
I don't know, man. That's insane.
she was like,
You have so many questions.
she was like came and like wanted to like educate, and she was like she passed around the bag of all the pills she had to take, and she was like, this sucks.
Okay, first of all, I thought you were gonna say that she passed away.
around. I thought you said just passing around like AIDS. I was like, how? She's just like cutting open her hand and like.
Wait, was she like actively ill with AIDS, or was it like latent?
There's no cure for it. What do you mean?
She just
Well, no,
No,
but like,
but it's fine now. You can live with it. Like,
yeah, like is she like fine? Like, is her white blood cell count like basically undetectable, or is she like actively
I
dying?
didn't ask these questions. No,
You don't
I
know. I had questions.
I
I'm so
was
concerned for this woman.
13. I didn't ask these questions. I had no clue
I'm
what
so
was going
concerned.
on. They
I
were
need to
just
know.
like-
I need to know.
You have to find her.
I think she got it like I can't talk about this.
Yes, you can. Now you have to. I have so many questions.
I don't have the answers.
Make them
But
up.
she- Make them up. I'm about to start a career in journalism.
I'm about to be an award-winning journalist.
Journalism's dead.
did she
I
get?
just watched a movie about it.
How did she contract them from being sexually active, or was it?
Yes, but it was
Okay.
through her husband.
It wasn't through, like, using.
What is?
How I thought I was
No,
gonna get AIDS by sharing a razor with my mom.
Sarah,
Wait,
My mom does not have
Huh?
AIDS.
Wait,
No.
we have to go back. We have to
But-
take a step back. What?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Does your
I
mom
think we
have
also
AIDS?
did. We had an STD talk too. I think we just had an AIDS talk. It wasn't STD. It was just AIDS. And they were like, yeah, you can get it from like sharing like mixing blood and like sharing a razor
Well,
with someone.
uh,
And I
But, like,
thought that if I shared a razor with my mom, I would
Yeah.
but your
get it.
mom. So you think your mom has
Okay.
AIDS?
No, that's the sad part.
You said-
I thought you could just get it, like it just appears.
Just
Oh,
AIDS. AIDS.
you thought it was just like okay.
It like came out of nowhere.
How
Yeah,
old were you? How old were you?
I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but a little older than I was like high school.
Sarah was 22. This was last year.
This was yesterday.
This is yesterday, actually. 23.
Yesterday. Okay.
But yeah, so this was an older woman, she had AIDS, and she basically was just kind of like, seeking to educate younger people
Yeah.
on
That's
how
good.
bad the disease is, and she's like, you gotta like take care of yourself, prevent whatever. But she told us the story of how she contracted it, which I think it was through her husband, because her husband got sick. Like she told the story about how he collapsed one day at home and he was very ill, and so they took him to the hospital. They got him tested, and then there at the hospital, they were like, "Hey, like we probably need to test you too." And she was pregnant at the time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Questions.
So
What
then,
was her
and then she,
husband doing?
I don't know. But yeah, then she showed us like she was like, I have to take all these medications so that I can be like stable and stuff. And she's like, it sucks. She was like, I should put pictures of my grandchildren on these bottles because I really just do it for them, so that I can
Oh,
be
my
here for
grandpa.
them.
Oh my
Sweet.
god.
Yeah.
Jesus.
She was able to have children then.
Yeah, no, she had, I think, a couple of kids, and then she had grandchildren, and
Yeah.
it seemed like she was like, obviously, like it's something she had to deal with for the rest of her life, and she wasn't happy about it, but there were like solutions, even though they were like she couldn't get a cure, but there were things that she could do to keep
Yeah.
herself somewhat healthy or stable. Because I think she also, I don't know if she got it like in the 90s or during like the actual AIDS. Probably not during the actual AIDS epidemic because that's when things like nobody knew how to fix that.
No, but they were figuring it out.
And
They were
people like
figuring.
lived as well. Like
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because every time you hear about it, it's just like
Yeah.
everybody
Well, it was
was.
also mostly if I remember correctly, because I took an AIDS class in college. So, for like a whole semester. So I did have to learn about this. But I'm pretty sure it was like the rest of the world basically had it figured out. It was just the
Oh.
US
good job, guys.
that was
So
fucking around, which is per usual.
Yeah.
Are you-
Good job, everyone. Really figured it
Mm.
out.
Yeah, that's also the plot, the subject of Dallas Buyers Club with
Oh,
what's his name?
Matthew
Ryan?
McConaughey.
Matthew
And
McConaughey.
Jared Leto.
He won an Oscar for it.
He did.
He did.
Oh, so he has AIDS in the movie.
Yes, they both have
Okay.
AIDS in the movie.
Mm-mm.
Who both has AIDS?
Well, Jared Leto has AIDS. Spoiler
Okay, I
alert.
thought Jared Leto. Yeah.
Jared Leto, who plays a trans woman in that movie.
Okay, that's
fuck-
what I thought. That he
Yeah.
played
Yeah,
a trans woman.
Yeah,
I
but
do
Jared
agree.
Leto's character has AIDS, and then spoiler alert, dies of AIDS. So that's awesome. Matthew McConaughey also has AIDS. Oops. Does not die, but
Mm.
Lives on.
sells not illegal drugs, but just like alternative medicine to treat AIDS. That the US isn't using, but like the rest of the world is using, and it's working.
Mm.
Interesting.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that based on a true story?
Kind of, because like there were buyers clubs all across the nation. Like it was like
Oh,
it was a nationwide thing. But yeah,
Mhm.
because they figured out that AZT was actually making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Interesting.
AIDS. Great. Okay.
Yay.
I'm glad we had this conversation.
Glad we
AIDS
have
talk.
this conversation.
Guys.
The more you know.
Talk. It's been a while since we talked about AIDS on the pod.
It's been a while.
Why have we?
We have like
Yeah.
two recurring conversations, and that's 9/11
and
and
AIDS.
And Tom Cruise.
Don't laugh. This
Cruise,
insane.
my boy.
And Tom Cruise. That's the third topic. Yeah.
Yeah, three topic. Oh, and Beatles.
And the Catholic Church.
Oh yeah.
And the Catholic Church.
And the Catholic Church. And that's it. 4.
We have variety here.
We have variety.
We really do, guys.
We're multidimensional, guys.
Yeah. We're human, we're multifaceted.
Yes.
Anyway, Sarah, tell us more about the movie, because May's mom is fuming.
Okay. So, unfortunately, this film does not feature AIDS, but
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
segue.
Oh,
It almost featured tinnitus? Tinnitus.
tetanus.
Tetanus, thank you.
Tetanus.
Tinnitus
With
is the
tetanus.
ringing in the ear. That's what.
Also ringing in your ears.
Yeah.
Okay, so this film, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about how pornos were kind of
Oh yes.
big in the 70s. So it would make sense that they made this film, like they based it in the 70s. But also this film is heavily influenced by Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which did come out in the 70s. So that he was just kind of emulate that vibe that film had.
Really is. It's like an alternate Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a lot of ways. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is a weird thing to say, but like, it's a good movie.
It is a good movie. I feel like this movie kind of like mixes because like pornography has been like associated with like horror. Like there's like a parallel between the two. Like in a lot of films. So I thought it was really interesting. But yeah, there was nudity in this film, wasn't there?
lot of boobs.
A lot of
Lot of
boobs.
Not enough
Such a double standard.
dick to even it out.
No, but
That's
that. But Kid Cudi was
Not enough.
full frontal.
Kid
in front-
Cudi?
Sorry, Kid Cudi. Cudi.
Kid
Cudi.
yeah.
Kid Cudi. He was full frontal in front of Gamp when he like opened the door. It's like boom,
That's true.
nothing. It's
Yeah.
like Grandpa, dude,
Yeah.
Grandpa's out
but-
here.
Yeah, but we didn't see peen, which doesn't mean I wanted to see penis. But I feel like if you're gonna make a film about pornography and feature like pornography in like an extreme way, you should include some penis.
I think it's because the guy from Euphoria was involved. Sam Levinson.
Yeah, Sam Levinson!
He was.
Fuck
He
that
was
guy!
Evil movie,
God.
actually. Evil movie.
Which made sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah. No, but it was funny what you were saying, May, because that is one of my pet peeves in films when there's like, first of all, there's like unnecessary female nudity, and it's like, okay, but this is a film that, you know, it kind of was a little more necessary, but yet they only show like women.
Yeah.
They don't show like, not that I wanted to see it, but it's just kind of like, why are we just showing women, guys?
Yeah, and that's like my big pet peeve about like one, the porn industry, two, just like any media about the porn industry, and that especially like that kind of like fictionalizes the porn industry because they kind of forget that like men are also porn stars, and thus they don't want to show men in like these vulnerable positions, but they will show women, which is, and listen, the porn industry is fucked, and I don't think it should exist. Love sex in the theoretical way. But
my theoretics about sex.
No profit off of it, is what you're saying.
in the hypothetical, I love sex. But just porn is just one, not sex. Two, just entrenched in misogyny. And I feel like this film, even though it tries to be like very feminist, because Mia Goth is the final girl, love her, slay mama, it's still just so like, it's so misogynist in the way that it only shows a naked woman and not a naked man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. It's a double standard, like how we're showing women but not men. Do we see Mark Wahlberg's dick in Boogie Nights?
At the end, famously
Yeah.
at the
Okay,
end. And
Yeah,
thank you.
famously.
I
that's
needed
But
to know that.
it's still like it takes
it
until the
takes
end
a
of the
it's
movie
literally like
for
the last
yeah.
minute of the movie.
And he's also the main character of the film, so it's like, hey, and that movie is about being a porn star. So yeah. Also, I think it's really weird that like the main villain is Pearl, who is this like older woman. You made
Yes,
Right.
you made a gesture. I wasn't sure. Okay.
she's
You
the
made a gesture.
villain, an older woman. She's kind of she's villain.
Yeah.
She's an older woman, and she's the villain. That's
Yeah.
kind of
But and she also like has like these like physical desires. And it's like I think what Emily was saying earlier about like talking about ageism and how we like look down on older people and we don't think of them as these like people with physical desires or whatever. I think that's apt, but this film is weird because it can't decide if it wants to
It doesn't
like older people or villainize them.
it doesn't
Yeah.
like have a certain viewpoint on it, and it doesn't need to, obviously, but like
No.
it wants to, but it can't.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense. It like
it
Yeah.
tries
it keeps
empathize,
going
but there's
back
no
and
way.
like though
It's not like the right genre to do it because it's like a slasher film and they like want to make a statement, but it's like you again like I couldn't focus on it because like people are dying.
Yeah.
horror has always been political, and it will always continue. All art is political, obviously, but horror especially always talks about the times
Yeah.
specifically. That's when you get great horror films. Like I think the
Yeah.
best example recently is The Substance and everything, and that's talking about a specific thing. You see a lot of films.
Like
You see a
the
lot
fear
of
that's prevalent of that era.
Right. You see a lot of horror films right now talking about the fear of giving birth to something evil. That a lot of those films were made when Roe v. Wade got overturned. Like there's a political things. So you don't have to make a statement in your films. They're not like you don't have to like overtly go out of your way to be like this is a political idea. But when you're doing it in horror, and you're being kind of wishy-washy with it, it feels weird and it feels worse, if that makes sense. It feel like the part that got me was we see like Gam Gam and Gamp Gamp get it on. They have sex at the end, but and Mia Goss under the bed and everything, and she's fearful, and it's like I want to be rooting for this, obviously, but at the same time, you haven't given me a choice of how to. And like there's no lead up to it that's like, oh, good. It's this film is not direct. It doesn't need to be direct, but it's not good in that way. It's not.
It's also weird because with the second movie, it focuses on old lady, Gam Gam, but as a young woman.
Right.
And with that being like the direct follow-up, like the second film literally came out like a couple of months after X, right? So I think with that immediate
time, right?
They were back to back, yeah.
Yeah, they were filmed at the same time. But because I think that was the immediate follow-up, it kind of just gives off the unconscious implication that like Pearl as a character in the first movie he's like not interested in who she is in the first movie. Like Ty West only really wants to focus on her as a young woman. Like this conventionally beautiful young woman.
It doesn't. I feel only anger and hatred towards the old woman when objectively she's going through something. Obviously not cathartic in any way, but like she's going through like a withdrawal essentially. She has a desire, and that's a great statement to put out. But you like it's not as overt or something. You only want to see it as something else.
I feel like kind of what you were saying, May. I feel like the film is kind of like the point of Pearl's character is more digestible to audiences when it's told through like a young woman versus like an older woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's more appealing in that way. Going off of that, so we have, you know, the character Pearl and in the first movie, and she's, to put it very, you know, in scientific terms, she is hideous. Like, she's not attractive.
Right.
She is an older woman and she's not desirable. Just like how she looks. You guys know that Mia Goth also played her in the first film.
Right.
Yeah.
She's in old age
Yeah,
makeup.
exactly.
Yes.
Which is showing like the parallels between the character Maxine and Pearl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
but
I think
it's interesting that you
cool.
would say that.
Right.
Continue.
I
No, go
think
ahead.
that's cool. But I think it's cool that like, hey, Mia Goth, you're a very talented actress, and I love you for that. Big heart. But I think it's kind of weird that they chose to go through all the effort of making someone appear old and hideous and gross instead of just like finding an old woman, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the old woman, again, the old woman does not have to be hideous and gross. I'm not like,
No.
like being old doesn't inherently make you hideous
No,
and gross.
yeah.
Right.
I think it's weird that they did everything in their power to make a movie with an old woman without old women.
Yeah.
That's
I just
yeah.
those scenes with, I'm sorry, but when he gets recoiled by the gun,
Insane
they could have
scene.
obviously chosen a stunt person for that, but maybe for agility purposes, is why they also chose Mia Goth. But then again, they could have used a stunt person for that and hired someone else.
It, yeah. I think that's where it comes off. What May was saying, it comes off so shallow. Like their arguments about ageism and how we treat desire in with older people, with the elderly and everything. It's because they themselves aren't even fully committed on it, and it's like, well, then who gives a fuck? Like, why are we like, what is happening here?
Yeah, and like kind of like what you were saying, like in one way it tries to come off as like feminist and like something that's very like progressive because it shows like, I mean, the main character, the final girl, is essentially, she's a porn star, right? And
Yeah.
she kind of defies the trope of like, you know, the final girl being the virgin, which a lot of films kind of, you know,
Yes.
played into. But also I feel like what you were saying, like this film also, it tries to kind of make like people who engage like in sex work like something that's like kind of a positive thing, but it also villainizes it by having
Yeah.
the character be so obsessed with sex and her being the
Uh,
killer.
I and I mean, they kill off all the porn people and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a weird roundabout way of even like, positivity, but you still have to die at the end. You can have in the moment, you know, peace and love or whatever, but just know your fate. Like it's a weird backwards thinking of it.
I also just think this film isn't actually like supportive of porn,
Mm-mm.
really, just because of the way how they talk about when like the one nerd fuck ass white guy, I don't fucking know his name. He's
Yeah.
annoying.
Oh, RJ. He's
The
Jenna
director.
Ortega's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Jenna Ortega's boy.
Jenna
But like
Ortega's boyfriend.
Jenna Ortega's boyfriend in the movie was constantly talking about how like, no, this isn't a porn film. Like
This is
this
a
is art.
film.
This is a real film.
Right.
And it's like this the movie itself is trying to be like very like supportive of the porn industry, but in itself it's downgrading, I guess, the porn
Right.
industry in the way that they're like talking about the process of making the film and also just the way I think they talk about sex in general in the film. Like they talk about it purely in a transactional sense rather than just like a natural thing
Mhm.
or like a
And
performative thing. Like that's
yeah, like you were saying, like the characters are also very shallow. They're not very developed,
No.
like the porn
Yeah.
actors. They're not seen as people. They're
No.
just kind of there to make a porno kind of thing. Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting, interesting, interesting. That okay. I feel like that's interesting because um my boyfriend and I were talking about this film, and he mentioned how not in this film but in the second film, Mia Goth also co-wrote the script to Pearl, and
Yes.
he was talking about how Mia Goth was kind of typecasted in these roles where she was very sexual. She was in a film called Nymphomaniac that came out a while ago, which was an erotic film.
Mhm.
And so he was saying that he feels like her writing the script was kind of reflective of her story of how she was kind of seen as like this sex symbol and how she was typecasted in these sexual roles, and her um writing a film where that kind of character has more development, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I thought that was really really interesting parallel.
Yeah. I think that wait, you said that Mia Goth co-wrote on the second movie?
And the third one I believe too, yeah.
But I will say that like I think the second movie is a good movie, and I think that Pearl as a character is a really interesting character. But I
Mhm.
think that Maxine, who she plays in the first and third movie, is just so like shallow again. I hate to use that word again, but she's very like undeveloped
Mhm.
in a way, you
Mhm.
know? Yeah, that's really interesting though.
I mean, she has a coke addiction throughout the whole trilogy, and there's no like
It's just
depth
is.
into it.
It
Yeah.
just is.
um
Does the thing at the end where they reveal that she's the pastor on the TV's daughter, does that play into the third movie more?
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
stupid.
Because I was like, you left me hanging there.
Can I spoil the third movie or
Yeah, I don't think I'll go out of my
I'll
way to
watch it,
watch
but I
it.
don't care.
okay,
Yeah.
so basically in the third movie, so Maxine becomes like a successful porn star, and then she gets like a role in like this horror film um in LA. So it takes place in LA in the 80s, and her dad is like a serial killer and is like killing all these like sex workers because he's like, "Oh, that's sinful." But what's crazy to me is like this was during the like the Night Stalker era.
Uh, uh,
So
uh,
they thought her dad was the the Night Stalker. It was a whole thing. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
all
Hmm.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that does come into play in the third one.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, oh, we're gonna. Well, I mean, you see it throughout this one too. They have kind of like the religious like conversations about like sex and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
again, like it doesn't feel like very developed. Like it's just kind of there. They
No.
mention it.
No.
Yeah.
It's also not very developed in the third movie either, so
Okay,
No.
cool.
it's not yeah.
Okay, so there's a point where his name's RJ, the right, the Jenna Ortega's boyfriend is like he's like, "Oh, I want to make like a good pornographic film." And it like begs the question like, can there be a good pornographic film? Because
Hmm.
could like is that possible? I think this is like a really interesting question to ask because I know there have been like a lot of Oscar nominated films that have had a lot of like heavy sex scenes, and it's like I know that doesn't classify as porn, but it's kind of in the same like concept. So I was wondering what you guys think about that.
I guess, what do we constitute as good? Is it artistic?
Yeah.
Is it good? Because a good, is it good in terms of like good and evil? Like, is
Yeah.
it?
I
Like
like
Well,
something
I
that.
that's
also feel like
eligible
the
for.
Like an
I
Oscar?
also feel like the
Mhm.
reason that like all of these Oscar movies that have a ton of sex scenes in them, like the reason that they're so like, I don't know, widely acclaimed despite being thinly veiled porn films is because they have some sort of like depth or anything. And I'm not saying this as somebody who like watches porn, but or you know, but I just feel like there's a difference between like a film that could be nominated for an Oscar that's like very detailed, that's very thought out, that's maybe intentional, sort of, and then a porn film is just like the whole purpose is to see sex on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, that was gonna be my point too, is like how does
Yeah.
intention play into this? Like when
Mhm.
you're like, is your intention
Yeah.
for to like to make like art or something like that, or is it like just to kind of like help people get off?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like by that standards, then since that's the whole point of a film, then pornographic film could not be a good movie because that's its whole purpose, right? There's no developed plot or anything.
And I mean,
Mhm.
that
Well,
was kind of, I guess, for what I was gonna get at was the idea that it's like, is it good? I don't know if there's like a good quality to it if we're not talking artistic, because the porn industry is so ripe with terrible, terrible things that and it in and itself is like a bad institution. So is it good in that way and everything? Is there ever going to be a good one? Because at the core of it will always be something. It's being made in an industry, but then you can
Very
also
dark.
a very dark industry for in that
Yeah.
sort of thing. You know?
Yeah. I do also think that it's a lot to do with like class
Yeah.
in a way because I think even now, like in a very like more sex positive era, I I guess we still view people who have sex as being of a lower class. Like it's kind of ingrained in the human psyche that like if you are having sex a lot, then you are poorer, that you know are lower on the hierarchy or whatever.
Right.
And
Or if
you
you're
know,
profiting off of that too.
yeah. Or
Mhm.
you're either just fit like monetarily poor or like you are poor in spirit. Like you don't have any morals whatsoever. Like it's very Victorian that way and like the way that we still think about it. And like also just puritanical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Puritans really fucked everything up.
I do want to mention that in the second film in Pearl, there's a scene where um the projectionist, the guy she ends up killing, he is watching a porno and it's like from 1915 and it's really funny because I recognized it because I had to watch it for a film class.
Uh, all
Nice.
right.
I was like, I've
What?
seen this before,
That's crazy.
but
All right.
yeah, I have
Yes.
really nothing else to add to.
Sarah always makes us think of the big questions. I come in with like, here's my little fun facts about the movie, but Sarah's like, what
Sarah,
is the meaning of good and evil?
Sarah
I
always has
know.
questions for us.
That's how my brain works 24/7.
It's
Okay,
because
English
she's the
degree.
oldest.
Good, good, good.
Good, good. Yes.
Good, good.
Lots to think about.
Yeah, really. All right, lads. Any final thoughts,
Right,
prayers?
I got
Thoughts
nothing.
or prayers?
Be
No.
safe.
Uh, yeah, use protection, get yourself checked,
Mhm.
regularly.
Um,
After sex,
have fun.
pee, have fun.
Oh,
Pee. Yeah. Have conversations with your
Yeah,
partner or
consent.
yes.
partners.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your cycle.
Pay attention to your cycle. I just finished my period, so you know it's on the mind.
Yeah.
Have good hygiene.
Have good hygiene,
Have good hygiene.
clean, you know,
Thank
whatever
Yeah.
things. Eat
Um,
well.
Oh, any potential sexual partner.
what'd
What?
you say? I didn't hear it.
Tell your sexual partner if you may have an STD, like
Yes.
Yeah.
please get
Tell
checked
your
and
sexual
tell
partner.
the person.
That
May,
wasn't
this is kind
censored.
of funny,
I'm sorry.
but the way you're holding your mic looks like you're holding like an Oscar trophy.
Thank
Like,
you. Thank you all. Mi gente latino.
Well, I have
Gente Latino.
I have to put it on the stand because if I hold the mic itself, then I'll keep turning the echo button.
Yeah, it goes like, she'll be talking, she'll be like, hello everyone, how are you?
That's so fun.
Yeah, so I just have to hold it like this for the rest of my life now.
Do you
Mi gente
connect the
latino.
What?
wire to your phone? How do you connect the?
It's connected to my whole setup is fucked, guys. I the microphone is connected to my laptop, which is connected to my second monitor.
Why did you
And
say
then
monitor like that? Monitor.
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 And my camera is on my phone. So, yeah.
It's just a bad time
Dreams.
for
It's just a
everything.
bad time. And
That's
then the sound comes out of either my laptop speakers or my second monitor speaker.
Because your headphones
Depending-
won't connect.
Because my headphones will not connect when the microphone is connected.
That makes sense.
So that's awesome. Yeah. I'm loving life, guys.
I've had that problem.
Yes.
All right, kiddos. So, Sarah has to use the bathroom really bad. So, any closing thoughts?
I'm all good.
I think we had a good conversation today.
Good
Oh,
conversation.
okay.
Guys, we didn't do any accents this episode. It takes place in Texas.
We can end it. We can do the outro in Texas accents. That's fine.
Okay.
We can do the
All right,
accent right now.
darling.
Follow
We can do the
Do it.
So,
Awesome.
outro. Thank you guys for watching this film.
Oh
this
my
film.
god.
This
This is a film.
this film.
film?
This is
is
art,
a
I'm
baby.
focusing too much on the accent.
Oh,
our
bless your
podcast.
heart.
Bless your heart.
All
Let's
right,
Somebody
then.
tell me what's the name? Follow us on
Oh,
Brat. Okay,
Oh,
Brat.
Macro.
Brats in the background
Okay,
on
you say it.
Instagram.
Mhm.
yeah.
Brats
Brats
Pod
Pod on
on TikTok. Brats in the background on Tumblr. We got them Tumblrs.
Yeah.
Nothing to 'em.
Brats in the background at gmail.com. You can send us a little email.
Tell us your thoughts to Sarah's deep questions.
Sarah, do you questions? Other things? I got nothing else.
I think that's it.
I don't know what else
leave a
there
comment,
is.
like, subscribe.
Subscribe. Love.
Live,
Boy,
laugh, love.
everyone. Good day. All right.
Bye.
Peace and love. Peace and love.